was going to say good-natured banter about that Carling Cup final. Possibly not quite as good-natured if you're on the Chelsea end of it. They might have a chance to hit back tonight. It's not just a case of beating Spurs. It is a case of getting 3 priceless Premier League points. No obvious targets for Tottenham, but Juande Ramos has thrown down a bit of a challenge to his squad by suggesting that at least some of them are playing for their futures at the club.
Just before kick-off, let's run through the 2 lineups one more time. We'll start with our visitors this evening.
Well, Tottenham mean business tonight because Juande Ramos puts out exactly the same 11 as in the Carling Cup final, which does mean that Ledley King plays in the Premier League for the first time since Spurs played Chelsea away in January. Paul Robinson is fit despite doubts over an ankle problem, and Robbie Keane keeps his place despite his display of dismay when he was substituted on Sunday. Criticisms that Avram Grant picked the wrong Chelsea side for the Carling Cup final means that his lineup tonight will be closely scrutinised. There are just 5 of his Wembley 11, with only 3 changes from the side which won at Sunderland on Saturday. Ricardo Carvalho for Alex at the back, Claude Makelele for Mikel in the middle of midfield, and one Michael Essien for another Ballack. Carlo Cudicini stands in for the injured Petr Cech for a 5th game in a row. So Chelsea ready to kick off. Revenge is just one motive for them tonight. But the real significance of a victory for them would be to join Arsenal on 67 points, with Arsenal due at Stamford Bridge this coming Sunday. Alan Smith, who saw the Carling Cup final. It's a real compliment to Chelsea, I guess, that Tottenham have gone back to exactly the same 11.
Yes, I think that's true. What you could arguably describe as their strongest 11 available, and big boost for them, of course, that Ledley King comes in to partner Jonathan Woodgate. They were so strong against Chelsea, against Nicholas and Alper at Wembley. Another performance like that tonight will really come in handy.
Now Anelka for King and Woodgate to deal with tonight. He's got a slight hamstring strain. Drogba with Joe Cole one side, Kalou the other. Hips off the head of Essien. And Joe Cole won't collect. By a strange coincidence, this fixture was originally scheduled for League Cup final weekend, which instead saw the 2 London clubs playing at Wembley rather than at White Hart Lane. Tottenham are aware they're 11th, but they're nearer the strugglers than the top 10. And they know they owe it to the improvement that Juande Ramos has orchestrated to carry it on to the end of the season, and not just a fade away, with ostensibly not too much at stake in the league games. You can never say that, though, about a London derby, that there's little at stake for one of the sides.
No, I mean, I think that's true. Whatever your manager says, though, when you come to this stage of the season and you aren't actually playing for anything, you can't go down, you can't qualify for Europe. It is hard for the players. Although it shouldn't be, I don't think supporters would quite understand, but it is hard to have that extra edge. But I think tonight that doesn't apply. Great atmosphere, full house against the local rivals. Should be well up for it.
Essien, who has been a bit part player recently.
This kind of distance that Didier Drogba scored, wasn't it? Michael Robinson just edged over to his right, expecting it to go over the wall. It's a slightly different angle, but he'll remember that, no doubt, Robinson.
It's got to get the hairband right to start with. Lampard has a word in his ear. Carvalho and Joe Cole are in the wall. Drogba hits the wall, asks for handball. Makelele plays on. John Terry, Drogba coming in! And Didier Drogba just as at Wembley, but much earlier in the game, gives Chelsea the lead against Tottenham.
Well, he just came in from an unmarked position, didn't he, after taking that free kick. Obviously nobody's picking him up at the point when he's hit the wall. When the ball pops out, it eventually comes to John Terry. Look at Drogba, he's got a free run. Jermaine Jenas discovers only too late that the centre-forward's creeping in behind him, and he can do nothing about it. Credit to the Chelsea captain, he picks out his centre-forward really well. He's not going to miss from there, Drogba.
It's a fast start from Chelsea. Drogba momentarily appealing for handball after his initial free kick was blocked. But he got his mind back on the job and he got his head on the ball.
Oh, what a start. You've had a couple of games in Derby and Sunderland against the lower teams, but you come into this game against Tottenham, against a team that will be anxious to get that second win after the Carling Cup. And Chelsea, of course, chasing at the top of the Premier League. What a start for them.
Drogba back to defend as well. There's the ball from the Jenas free kick, carried a bit of menace. Well, they're usually guaranteed a goal or two at White Hart Lane. And Spurs get plenty themselves. Incidentally, that's Chelsea's 50th in the Premier League this season. Helped by the 6 a week ago against Derby, of which Lampard got 4. Woodgate. Paulo Ferreira has regained the right-back slot. And there is a bit more of a look of a regular first choice 7 or 8 untouchables, I guess Jose Mourinho might have called them. Possibly not quite that now, but holding down the jobs week in, week out. And Drogba, very nearly again. Joe Cole could wrap this up with a second, wraps up the attack, but it's not going to count because he's been given offside. He's still looking, incidentally, for his first career goal against Tottenham Hotspur.
I was talking about Didier Drogba and whether the centre-halves could do a similar job on him, and he's started off like a house on fire. Joe Cole clearly offside.
Berbatov's header. Then Terry. Now Lampard. It's a good playing surface at White Hart Lane these days. And Chelsea using it to get some early accuracy to their passing. 1 goal in the back, 1 chalked out for offside.
Now, I think it'd be interesting to see how the crowd react if Chelsea continue in this vein and maybe get that second goal. Do they get on the home side's backs after the few poor results they've had since the Carling Cup final? They've been right behind them at the start, but they need to pick things up, Tottenham.
Here's Berbatov. Malbrook, wrong-footing Makalele, who still got in the way of the cross. Berbatov. Little frustration by Keane that didn't get the ball quite how he wanted it from his fellow striker. His emotions will be scrutinised tonight.
Well, Chelsea at the moment visibly sharper, hungrier for it, the challenge. Wondered if that might be the case. I spoke about Tottenham not playing for anything particularly, but in this local London derby you'd think things would even out, but at the moment it hasn't. Chelsea looking like a team chasing for honours. Tottenham looking like a team coasting towards the end of the season. As I said, that's got to change, or else they could be in for a very uncomfortable evening. A great deal going on there, really. Carvalho stood his ground.
Martinez over the ball again. Three in the wall for Cudicini. Martinez plops it straight into Cudicini's gloves. Spurs, of course, have suffered so much at the hands of Chelsea over the last best part of 20 years, really. 3 victories for Tottenham in the last 43 meetings in all competitions. Chelsea fans used to call this 3-point lane, at least until last season when Chelsea did get the first goal and Tottenham bounced back to win 2-1. It's a really explosive contest, which Graham Poll found hard to referee. John Terry was sent off. Hutton caught upfield by Tottenham losing the ball. Reclaimed by Zakora. Genius. Keane trying to give Hutton some sort of angle. Terry is across. And Ashley Cole, who didn't play in the Carling Cup final. Wayne Bridge did, of course, and gave away the penalty that turned the game away from Chelsea. Hutton. Keane. Hutton going in once and twice, and in the end Tottenham's endeavours have got them another free kick.
Chance to put in a better delivery than they did a couple of minutes ago through Jermaine Genius. There's Jonathan Woodgate, who famously got his head to the ball at Wembley for the winner.
King is up as well, and Chimbonda, who shouldn't be ignored at these set plays. Woodgate going for it, very well marshalled by Drogba though. And then the challenge on Lennon by Makalele brings a rebuke from Mike Riley.
Well, we saw Mido get sent off, something not too dissimilar to that, didn't we, at the Emirates at the weekend. Any high-footed challenge now seems to be clamped upon. Not even a yellow there.
No, a common sense approach by Mike Riley. And another chance for Tottenham. They've had 3 free kicks from decent positions since going behind. And they're not behind now. It's Woodgate, it's more shades of Wembley. We're only in the 12th minute here, and there's some game going at White Hart Lane.
Well, I was looking at that duel between him and Didier Drogba. Drogba won the first one, heading it clear, but this time he just climbs on the back of the striker. A little spin off him, and then up he goes early, uses Drogba for a bit of leverage, and powers it home. Look at that, Drogba can't get up. Woodgate gets up so early. It's a great reaction from Spurs. No chance for Cudicini.
Well, if you keep giving away the free kicks, the chances are a decent ball will come in sooner or later. And Woodgate, again with the appetite against Chelsea. And the one thing that this particular Tottenham 11 would have felt, having conceded early, was that they knew that they got it in them to bounce back. But here's Drogba, and now Essien. Well, he's obviously got a problem here.
Well, it looks like a whack to the shin rather than a medial ligament jog. I thought it was initially. I mean, he certainly got the ball. It's a core, it's just the follow-through. And Well, I don't think there's anything intentional in that. He's got his shin pads on. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Well, Jonathan Woodgate scores in the Premier League for the first time since his Leeds United days.
Complicated, and it was that. You're just hoping, as the Chelsea player, that everybody is marking up, everybody does the job, but he just got caught backtracking, Drogba, and he couldn't jump because Woodgate got up so early, and it was a simple finish because of that.
A header apiece for Drogba and Woodgate.
Looked very comfortable, didn't they? Chelsea started very brightly, very sharply. As you say, Martin, keep giving away free kicks and you're going to come under pressure.
Mubarak, who was stood down for tonight, to allow Essien to reappear as a Premier League starter for the first time since New Year's Day. But he started, he might not finish. No. Certainly wants to come back on. Dave Hancock, the physio. Steve Bennett, the fourth official. Both are satisfied, and Essien resumes this fascinating match. Overkick that time by Robinson. Carvalho. It's very good from the neutral perspective, let alone the Tottenham perspective, to see Ledley King playing again in the Premier League. Seemed to have been just kept in cotton wool, except for the big Carling Cup ties and the UEFA Cup games that needed his services. All sorts of question marks still about even his short-term future. But here are Spurs with Robbie Keane. Those dancing feet.
They look purposeful, don't they, on these set pieces? Plenty of confidence in the ranks now. Both the centre-halves going up. Keane to join Woodgate.
Terry trying to keep tabs on Berbatov as well, so that means others have got to mark the two central defenders. Cudicini only knocks it down. King is there. Swung away by Paulo Ferreira. Hutton had stayed back. Makalele easing it on, and he's got some supporting cast here in Carvalho and Kalou. Joe Cole. Oh. Well, Zakora missed it, and maybe that was the reason Kalou missed it.
Yeah, I think it was, because he was certainly in a position to make contact here. Salomon Kalou. Interesting, Chelsea leave a couple up on corners. He just gets the faintest of nicks, doesn't he, Didier Zakora? The most vital of nicks as well.
Yeah, Kalou spotted that and wanted it to go into the equation, which would have made it look a bit better for him if the corner had been properly given, but you could understand the officials missing it. Berbatov on it. Hit Keane on the back. If it had dropped in front of him, he was straight through the middle. Lampard. Woodgate, Robinson, Genius, Lennon, with Fabio Capello here. John Terry will be being watched, of course, in the other camp, and Ashley Cole, Frank Lampard, Joe Cole.
Got a great feel about it, hasn't it, this game? You never quite know what's going to happen next, the way things are. Lovely tempo to it now.
Makalele. Advantage played well by referee Riley. Carvalho. In the end, Juande. He could just knock it through under challenge, and it went straight to Woodgate. Hutton, Keane lets it run. Lennon infield. And it was a weak ball in the circumstances. Seemed straightforward to give it to Keane's feet. Squad to be announced tomorrow for England.
A few more him with a shout, aren't there, these days? He tends to announce a squad of 30 and then pare it down, so a lot of Englishmen will be hopeful.
Strong work on the ball by Kalou, and a decent pass at the end of his strength in possession. Joe Cole, Drogba, it's Etienne! Chelsea are back in front. 19 minutes gone.
Well, I said you're never quite sure what's going to happen next, because either side looks threatening going forward. Joe Cole does really well here. You know, I think Tottenham were more concerned with that crossfield run of Didier Drogba, and maybe Cole was trying to pick him out. You know, there's a suspicion of offside in there. It's very tight. I think Essien was. It's a really cool finish from the midfielder. You get a little touch to that Drogba just to cushion it into the path. He does get a touch, I think, Drogba into the path of Essien. Otherwise, the midfielder wouldn't have got the ball.
Well, even if he didn't get a touch, he was surely distracting and gaining an advantage for Chelsea, distracting Tottenham.
Well, who knows these days, but important stat is that Chelsea have got the goal.
Well, down goes Berbatov. John Terry was the last defender. No free kick has been given. But Mike Riley has now stopped it because of concern for the Bulgarian. There was another interesting incident.
Tussle with John Terry. Oh, it's the knee, isn't it? Just tumbles over. Berbatov. That is going to hurt.
Well, Drogba at the heart of things again for Chelsea. But in pursuing that involvement, was he in an illegitimate position?
Flag has gone up a few times, and you maybe would have expected it to go up there. He gets his left boot to it, Drogba, I'm pretty certain of that, to enable Essien to dink a beauty, it has to be said. Over Paul Robinson. Maybe he doesn't. Does it just go through his legs?
Yeah, but you can't say he's not interfering with play, can you?
No.
Whether he touched it or not. But thing of beauty, the Essien finish. The goal of questionable merits in terms of the offside law.
Well, that's it, though, isn't it? I mean, we just don't know the precise rule. In Berbatov there, ruled offside at the far post at Manchester City when he was nowhere near the action when Darren Bent put the ball in the net. I think on this occasion the linesman just hasn't spotted it.
Signs look good for Berbatov to return. Shouldn't forget the part that Kalou played in the build-up for that goal either before. Well, he got the ball to Joe Cole. Berbatov recovered, now Tottenham need to do the same. Carvalho. Drogba. Lampard going in. Oh. Chelsea were a whisker from creating another chance here. Carvalho. Oh, this time against Drogba.
Another one, isn't it?
Raised.
Not borderline, that one. Lovely bit of skill from Joe Cole and vision. chest it down and find his man. Look at that, look at the cut of the grass, very little in it. He's through as well, Drogba.
Joe Cole has made the most appearances of any Chelsea player this season. Oh, here's a Robbie Keane in the act of trying to spin into the shot. Bounce was high enough for now Terry to get across before Keane could really lift a foot to strike it goalwards.
Yeah, I mean, we associate that pair, Keane and Berbatov, with clever interplay, but it's been Berbatov's strength in the air, flicking it on to Robbie Keane that's caused problems.
Away by Lampard. Hutton. Genius has kept it in. And the 3 up with him for Tottenham. Genius, in the end, goes for goal himself from a slightly improbable angle. Attention needed for Drogba this time.
Just dived into the challenge as Jermaine Genius has let go. Can't see from that angle where the contact came. He's just caught him, hasn't he, with his studs, Jermaine Genius, on the top of Drogba's head.
Around the goals and the chances. And a few clashes as well. It's a most captivating game. Avram Grant is checking his watch at this stage. Still 20 minutes to go to half-time. This is to seem a long night for him. But we've departed from the Carling Cup final script. And the side has scored first, has also scored the 3rd goal of the game here.
Get away with that one, little slap pass from Carvalho across, intended for John Terry, but overhit it. Made Ashley Cole scamper back.
Woodgate. Michael rather studding it forward. Met by Zakora. And the flag is up against Keane. Poet, of course, with strong Chelsea connections. Very much the counsellor to Juande Ramos. Drogba. Here's Keane. Really breathtaking start to the resumption of hostilities between Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea. Oh, and Robinson kicks it against Drogba.
I think he just brought his hands up to protect his face, did he, Drogba? Which got to expect, I suppose, but wasn't the best of clearances. Could have turned out a lot worse than it did.
If it came at that sort of height, if he'd have headed it, he might have got himself an unlikely goal. Here's Terry. Michael wrong-footed. Back to Kudicini to show off his kicking abilities, and he hasn't failed Chelsea here. Berbatov winning his headers. Essien. So plenty of licence to push forward with the insurance of Makalele. As much as anything is giving insurance in a game as open as this. And there's so many mistakes as well. So Cole got there just before Chimbonda. Essien. For both sides, really, attack is the best form of defence on the display so far. Kalou. Malbranc putting his shoulder to the wheel. And Kalou putting his arm across Steve Malbranc.
Joe Cole gets the ball for Chelsea. You just sense things are going to happen, and he's seen plenty of the ball on that right-hand side. So clever in possession.
Carvalho needed behind Essien. Tottenham's throw. Genius. There was concern about an ankle problem for Paul Robinson. And he got his place back. He certainly wants to keep it. Woodgate not distracted by Drogba that time. Lampard. Kalou. And good strength in possession again. Essien not really marking well the midfield men for Spurs. All three of the Chelsea players in the penalty area went towards the near post then.
Yeah, they're having problems with Michael Essien, Jermaine Genius. Struggling at times to pick his man up as he bursts forward. Essien.
Makalele, good take by Lampard. Terry. Pressure applied by Keane. And it worked. Berbatov stepped easily inside Makalele, and then his usual impeccable control let him down.
He must have wondered, mustn't he, Michael Essien wasn't getting the game in the Premier League with Michael Ballack, a regular, where his career was heading, and Ballack's been in the goals, hasn't he?
Malbranc neatly on for Chimbonda. Very much the right footer playing at left back.
Never quite that one, had that one under control. Let's go Chimbonda. They can put this Chelsea defence under pressure tonight. They look a little bit uncertain at times, taking unnecessary chances once or twice, and Kudicini's clearances haven't been great. They came to his side's rescue there a couple of minutes ago.
Touched on by Drogba, offside flag up again against Joe Cole this time. Meanwhile, there's another harrowing moment for Chelsea, although they've just about kept their lead.
It was unnecessary, really. He has to get a piece of that ball, Kudicini. He knows that he's flying out at Lennon. If he caught the play, he would have been in trouble.
Malbranc. Put out by Essien, linking up well with Joe Cole. But Sakura's challenge was strong and purposeful. And the ball picks out Hutton, although he's under some challenge from Kalou. Again, passing the ball in their own half. Chelsea haven't looked as good as they have been when they've been passing the ball in the Tottenham half. Chimbonda trying to sweep it on, but Malbranc wasn't expecting that.
Well, it is so fast and frenetic. It's not a night for taking chances at the back, is it? especially when you've got a player like Didier Drogba to aim for. More often than not, he'll hold it up. He's made some great runs tonight. You know, he's been so unlucky with the assistant's flag once or twice, but you know, sooner or later that flag will stay down.
Well, he has been lucky with the flag once, hasn't he? And Essien scored. Here's Paulo Ferreira. Juande got the benefit of any doubt there. And Joe Cole voicing his frustrations. Yellow card from Mike Riley.
Well, he's
talking out of turn.
He's wrong to do it, but the linesman should have seen this, because he gets none of the ball, Chimbonda. How can that assistant, who's 10 yards away, not give a foul there? You can see Cole's frustration. Yeah, he's wrong to give him some verbals, but look at that for a challenge.
Avram, just for Chelsea. Ricardo Carvalho. Woodgate. King, not venturing too far. Oh, unlucky. Good spot by Genius to try and find Hutton. Woodgate, I think, concerned about the number of Chelsea players that were starting to break forward here, and concerned about Drogba's ability to be a focal point for a counter-attack.
Oh, he's in one of those moves tonight, looking really sharp in the centre of everything. We know he's going to make the most of those kind of challenges. Just let the ref know about them.
Yeah, he hasn't been at his best since he came back from the African Nations Cup. But he's really in the groove here. Woodgate wins that header though. Essien. A bit of screening by the midfield man Zakora. Woodgate once more. And then having to defend. Trying to turn defending into counter-attacking from a very optimistic position. And that's Tottenham for you. Better from Chelsea. Essien needs a bit of help. That's it from Paulo Ferreira. And he got Lampard to aim at in the middle, and he appreciated the attempt at service. Frank Lampard now into double figures in the Premier League for a 5th season in a row. He's available for England, which he wasn't in February when Jermaine Genius got the nod from Fabio Capello and actually scored the first goal for the new head coach. Kalou. Essien. Drogba waiting. Would have liked it a bit earlier. Close to it is Joe Cole for Chelsea. Now Ferreira. Makalele. Handball by Drogba. Chelsea began very well. Got a 3-minute goal from Drogba. It was a surprise, really. Tottenham did equalise so quickly. Chelsea continue to look the more threatening of the two sides, and John Terry finally got back on the goal trail at Sunderland on Saturday after 65 Chelsea appearances without scoring. I bet in every one of those games he was up for half a dozen set pieces.
It is an amazing stat, that, when you consider how forcibly he attacks the ball.
Makalele, Lampard. Joe Cole, who was the last resort in the Carling Cup final. Avram Grant's third substitution in extra time. Seemed to be contrary to where Cole has played for much of this season for his club.
Settled down, doesn't it, the contest? I suppose it had to after that start. Chelsea looking a little bit more secure at the back and probably having the better possession now.
Keane. Yes, yeah. Juande trying to give Tottenham a bit of impetus here. With the help of Malbronk. Didn't go to ground easily, although there was a little bit of a nudge from Paulo Ferreira for his honesty of staying on his feet. Didn't get the corner that he was looking for, or the cross in that he was really hoping for. Carvalho. A bit of bounce on Terry's back pass. Cudicini's only been able to put it out. There's been some verve about Chelsea going forward, but unusually for them there's been some vulnerability defensively.
Did really well, Berbatov, on those high balls into him, backing in, bringing it down, causing a problem.
King. Now Brock. Makalele forcing his way through a couple of challenges. Lampard got a touch of the ball and he's there if Drogba wants to put him in, but Drogba wants to score a goal again himself. And between them, the two know that a real opportunity passed Chelsea by then. Well, no hard feelings about it in the end.
Well, a chance that was just before half-time. He did get a piece of the ball, I think. Genius should know there's not been a second in this match to dwell in possession, especially in a position like that. Lampard just poking it through. Yeah, he caught Janus, but no foul for me. Could have maybe just slipped Lampard in. So he gets a toe that pokes it sideways before he catches Janus Lampard.
Jermaine Genius and Didier Zakura having problems, two central midfield players against three in there for Chelsea. It's a cornerstone of Chelsea's position in the match as we go into the last few minutes before half-time. Been a few stoppages around the goals. Terry misjudged it, and obviously the Tottenham players looking straight at the Chelsea skipper. Saw it as handball. The officials looking more from sideways on didn't. Hutton. Ooh, Ashley Cole going in there, and some past wounds opening up here.
Well, he did get the ball.
Protest.
He did get the ball, Martin, but he went in so aggressively with his foot up that it's inevitable he's going to get punished for it. He's appealing that, yeah, he got a clean contact with it, but you simply can't do that these days. He got a piece of the man as well, I think, on the follow-through.
What colour is the card going to be? Seems to be yellow, that's what we're seeing.
It's not an easy one to ref, this game, for Mike Riley. Tackles flying in all over the park at 100 mile an hour, and you don't want to take that out of the game. But Mike Riley felt that was high.
The FA are trying to promote this respect campaign, and I have to say it must start from the top.
Right,
that's a rash tackle by Ashley Cole.
Well, I gave him more credit than he's due. He didn't get any of the ball, did he? He can hardly complain about that. It's appealing that he did get the ball, but he must know, as the person tackling, that he didn't, that he just got hung shin.
But his lack of respect to Mike Riley afterwards, showing his back, saying you can read my name on it, and the referee's taken it in good part. But those who referee at lower levels, grassroots levels, have to deal with players up and down the country who copy the example from the Premier League stars.
Well, it's good to see him doing it with a smile on his face, Mike Riley, because he needs to take the heat out of the situation, but he's got a...
Not smiling now.
Tear.
He's copped an earful from Robbie Keane. Again, lack of respect for officials. Until managers really punish players for speaking out of turn, it will continue to go on. And here's Kalou trying to get behind Hutton.
Just going back to that Ashley Cole challenge, I mean, when the Chelsea players see that on replay, you've got to imagine they'd feel stupid for appealing and complaining in the way that they did, especially Ashley Cole. I mean, have a look at it. He comes from a distance. He can't control his jump there. He can't control his tackle. It was a bad one, no question.
Berbatov. Here come Tottenham through Zakora and Malbrook. We're in added time before half-time. And probably it's a good time for half-time to come, with the temperature of the game at its boiling point. Fired up by Ashley Cole's lunge at Hutton. Away by Drogba. Here's Kalou. Essien in the middle. Coming up at the far side. Here's Ashley Cole to Joe Cole. Ashley Cole's there again. And it's cleared by Lennon, who stuck with his man, and Tottenham needed him to do so. Makalele, good judgment. Keane's got to be careful. Just books.
He's got his dander up at the moment, hasn't he, Robert Keane? Feels as if he's being hard done by.
Well, the first half that started with a flurry of goals has ended with the boos, particularly for Ashley Cole from the Tottenham contingent, who's a lucky man still to be involved in the game. Chelsea do lead. Gus Poyet trying to get himself involved from the Tottenham point of view in a pretty friendly way, it must be said, but he's making a strong point. Didier Drogba's been involved in pretty much everything as far as the scoreline is concerned, giving Chelsea a 1-0 lead and being involved in the move that put them 2-1 up, maybe from an offside position, but losing Jonathan Woodgate for the Tottenham goal at half-time. It is Tottenham 1, Chelsea 2, and it suddenly became a difficult game for Mike Riley in the closing minutes of the first half.